Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How would you like the setup this day? You want to turn on your videos or you'll do as is?
As is, ma'am.
Okay. So welcome to Module 11. This is Quantitative and Qualitative Research and Analysis. Okay, let me share my screen with you. Is it not sharing? Okay, there you go. Hindi scroll siya voluntarily. This one. Okay. This is Module 11. The title of our module is Quantitative and Qualitative Research and Analysis. This is Miss Clarinda. Okay, first question before we start with the discussion. Have you had any researches before? Did you do any research before?
Yes, ma'am.
May I ask for which purpose?
For thesis purposes.
Okay, in your undergrad degree, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's start now with the first slide with the definition of research. So as we say, research is a process of systematic inquiry that entails collection of data, documentation of critical information and analysis, and interpretation of that data or information in accordance with suitable methodologies set by specific professional fields and academic disciplines. So firstly, we say that in doing research, our main purpose is to establish facts and reach new conclusions. Am I right? Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes. When I ask questions, you can also participate, okay? And at certain times during the discussion, if you feel like asking questions, please do so, okay? Now, other authors describe research as a systematic investigation into the study of materials and sources. As I've said earlier, the purpose is to establish facts and reach new conclusions. So research is based on what your purpose is, and it is dependent on the disciplines where you are, or like it could be based on an academic research, or just for the just plainly in identifying as per agreement or approval of certain products. Okay. Next slide. So research methods. Sorry. are split broadly into quantitative and qualitative methods. So whichever you choose will depend on your research questions, your underlying philosophy of research, and your preferences and skills. Okay? So you have the chance to choose which type of research will you be doing. Now let's dig into definition of terms first. So first we have quantitative research. This explains phenomena by collecting numerical data that are analyzed using mathematically based method. Okay, so what is our what keywords can you point out in this definition of quantitative research?
It's numerical.
Okay, numerical, you are right.
Mhm.
So when you say numerical, it deals with numbers, figures, and statistics. And then when we deal with the phenomena, so as we say, it explains a phenomenon. So phenomena is something observed that is that occurs or exists, and to prove that this phenomena exists, we have to quantify them using figures, numbers, and statistics. Okay. The second type of research is qualitative. This seeks to answer questions about why and how people behave in the way that they do. It provides an in-depth information about human behavior. So there are two questions that are answered by qualitative research. These are the why and the how people behave in the way that they do. Okay? So if quantitative research focuses on mathematical or numbers, how about qualitative research? It deals with,
Behavior.
Traits of a person.
oh yeah, okay. So from the term itself, quality, we are after descriptions, or like, let's say, basically we use adjectives to describe, right? Okay, the next slide will show you the difference between the two. For quantitative research, we use tools like, what can you see? What kind of tools can you see? There's,
Scientific.
yeah, so we have a thermometer, basically to
Thermometer.
measure temperature. We have a clock. We have a measuring tape. What is the other one? Scale. Okay, so these are tools that measure units or measure, let's say, weights. Okay. Then on the other hand, we have qualitative research. This refers to observations using our five senses. So what the eyes can see, what our ears can hear, what we can taste, we can touch, we can smell. So they are part of qualitative descriptions. Okay, so basically they are descriptions. Please let me know if I'm talking too fast. Okay. Next, on the next slide, we have SPSS. Have you heard of this? Okay, what is SPSS? Yes.
I'm not familiar, man. Sorry.
Not familiar. Okay. So basically, let me establish this point. There are certain parts of our discussion today that you may not be familiar, especially when it comes to statistics. Because when we conduct, let me admit Ioni. Okay, when we conduct researches, there are people who will be with us as we go along our course of study or course of research. So the SPSS is basically done by a statistician. So the statistician's role is to explain to you how things are done. So during your defense, you will be able to explain as well how the research happened, right? But basically, this one, like SPSS, this is the work of a statistician. But just to be, just for you to be familiar, what is the SPSS? This is, SPSS refers to, so this is an acronym that stands for Statistical Package for Social Sciences.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning. It is used to perform statistical analysis, And as the name suggests, SPSS, statistics is software is used to perform only statistical operations. So this is the work of your statistician. Okay? But if you want to be very much aware of the ins and outs of your researches, you have to sit together with your statistician and try to find out how, like, for example, if you can see in the slide, so the rows are cases, columns are variables, so at least try to find out what these columns and rows are. This will help you in your defense, during the defense, okay? Okay, the next term is the Likert Scale. It is a type of rating scale used to measure attitudes or opinions. It is a 5 or 7-point scale used to allow the respondents to express how much they agree or disagree with a particular statement. Okay, is it always 5 or 7 point that we can use in a Likert scale? What is your answer? Yes or no?
5, right?
Actually,
Five.
sorry.
Mostly 5.
Yeah, actually we can use 3, no, but not less than 3. So it should be minimum of 3. Then you can have as much as 7 or 9. Ideally, we have to use an odd point scale when you say odd. So consisting of 3, 5, 7, and 9. Huh?
But 3 is, during our defense, 3 is fine.
Yeah, that is the minimum. Actually, that's the minimum. Now, that is what we call odd point scale. We have to use the odd point scale because basically anything odd divides two groups. You understand my point? But the even point scale can also be used, yes, but it is not much advised. Okay. Now, if you can see here on table 1, the Likert scale response category. So we have the following raters: 1, never. We have to read it from left to right, huh? Not from top to bottom. Okay, 1, never. 2, seldom. 3, sometimes. 4, often. 5, always. And then the second one, we can read that same. I will show you another example of the Likert scale in the next. So the purpose of the Likert scale is either positive or negative, to show or to measure either positive or negative response to a statement. During the sorry, we're saying
surveys
something.
or interviews.
Okay. So during surveys, you are right. During interviews or when you are using questionnaire, so the Likert scale is the most widely used approach to quantify or to scale responses in any surveys. Okay. So this is what I was telling you. I don't know how to remove this, the black one. Can you see a black one?
Please remove this.
Yes, ma'am.
You cannot remove it. You cannot remove it. So anyway, so these are examples. But you will not use all of them together. Okay. Now look at the response sets. We have 10 response sets. It depends on what purpose you would like to work on. Okay, for example, when we say frequency, this is the number of occurrences of a repeating event per unit of time. So read from left to right, these are your raters. Okay, so starting from never to always. Now, by the way, which is the highest point? Is it 1 or 5?
5.
Yeah, 5. Okay, that is the highest point. Ginigising ko lang kayo.
Gising na.
Gising na. Okay. So the next one, let's say if you want to talk about quality, to identify degree of excellence, standard, or to measure against other things which are of similar kind, so you can use 1, very poor, 2, poor, 3, fair, 4, good, and 5, excellent. Okay? Let me stress again, you don't need to use all of these 10 at the same time. Okay,
Yeah.
it depends on your purpose or the purpose of your research, I mean. Number 3 is intensity. This measures condition or degree of great strength or great energy. So we have 1, none, 2, very mild, 3, mild, 4, moderate, and 5, severe. When we talk about agreement, what is the purpose of agreement? This is to show harmony or accordance in feeling or opinion. Okay, so just read the raters, then I'll proceed. Approval says something about beliefs or something that is acceptable or not acceptable. Okay. Now, at this point, what have you noticed among the raters? What have you noticed?
Negative, positive.
It should be which one is the most? There is a declension order. So 5 is the greatest, or let's say
it's
the
something like
strongest. Yes, and
the
then
third is in the middle.
yeah,
The left
yeah.
side is all negative, right?
Yes,
So
right. So this is from let's say from least to greatest, or from what is from strength, no? From the greatest strength to the least strength.
Extreme.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
extreme
extremes.
weakness.
That's right. And number 3 is always neutral.
Yeah, neutral.
Okay. But when you are conducting your research, do not encourage your respondents to always stick with neutral. Okay?
They have to
Yeah.
decide.
Yes, they have to. It's well, and 1 to 5 would be very ideal, if I may say. No? They don't need to really think about whether choosing 5 or choosing 4, because there is a very slim difference between 4 and 5. Okay, so there's no great problem at all. Now, when we talk about awareness, this is a measure of knowledge or perception of a situation or a fact. Okay, so this may be focusing on issues. No? You can use this Likert scale. Number 7 is importance. This states the being of great significance or value. I would say this is always used by students, right? When you were you are working on a high school thesis, the importance would always be the first thing they consider in doing any research. Number 8 is familiarity, which measures knowledge of something or someone. Number 9 is satisfaction. This shows fulfillment, expectations, or pleasures derived from our needs and our wants. And the last one is performance, which reflects action or process of performing a task or a function. Okay, so if you would choose um, the research that you would like to work on, just pick out from these response sets what you want to use as part of your survey sheets or your questionnaires. Okay. Next slide is the difference between primary data and secondary data. Yeah. So the primary refers to the first-hand data gathered by the researcher himself. This may be surveys, observations, experiments, questionnaire, personal interview, and the like. How do we collect primary data? From the term itself, yes, primary. Yeah.
But, we're going to conduct some surveys and
Yeah.
give some questionnaires to people and let them answer it or interview them.
Okay. So, how do you go about with the collection of your data? Do you use someone, or is there somebody who does this for you?
You have to
do
do
it
it
yourself.
Yes, that's right. That's why it's
Yeah.
called primary.
Yeah.
So the collection of data is original or first hand. Okay, so like in one group, let's say if 3 members are working for one research, so all the 3 or like each one of these 3 have to be present during any of the data collection. Then secondary data, this refers to data collected by someone other than the user. So if you are not available, you can ask someone to do it for you, that you are doing a secondary data collection. So common sources include censuses, information collected by government departments, organizational records and data that were originally collected for other research purposes. Now, my question is, just for a moment. Okay, my question is, why is it allowed that another person can collect the data for you?
Well, for the government side, they
Mm.
really have to conduct it, especially for census, like they
Mhm.
need to know the number of people in such locality,
So
and
yes.
it's already there, like that.
Mhm.
So, um, by through this, if you want to know as well, you don't need to count all the people and
Mhm.
such.
Mhm.
Just ask them, go to the census department, and they
Yeah.
will gonna give you the data.
And
So they really need it. Something like it's their work to have it.
yes, and on another note, because these are government properties or
Yes.
private properties, we are not given any access to them, right? Okay, so basically, secondary data are already existing. They are data which were collected in the past by some other researchers. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of accessing secondary data in our researches? Have you tried asking yourselves what is the purpose? Why do we need to use other people's studies or other people's researches?
I believe the purpose of this is to validate our research because
Yeah.
the secondary data it's more detailed.
Oh, sorry. Mhm.
It encompasses a lot of scope because if
Mhm.
we will do it by ourselves like the primary data, the scope that we can do it's only limited. Unlike with the secondary data, they can capture all those things that we cannot capture personally.
But the purpose of this is just to
There's
use as a
analysis.
reference, right? Not,
Right.
not to copy the research as is. Now, on the other hand, we can say that we can work on same research study, but our purpose now is to what?
Analyze.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Analyze, analysis.
It can be an analysis or it can be for improvement, right? It can be for like a continuing research. If let's say if there were aspects in the previous or there were aspects of the previous researches um, that were not founded to be true or not founded to be right. And then when you have conducted your current research, there are other results that came out. So it is best to compare some data that you were able to gather from the past researches. Okay?
Example as well, maybe if you want to know the number of markets that you will gonna have. Example,
Yes.
if your product is like suitable for teenagers, so you want to know in this particular place how many teenagers or how many kids that is in there. So you will gonna be able, example, in the Philippines, in this barangay, if there are more kids or teenagers in this particular barangay compared to the other, if you come to know, then you will be able to decide well in which barangay you will put up your business.
Okay, yes,
Because
I
your market
agree.
is there.
And plus, which generation these
Yeah,
teenagers come from?
exactly.
That
So,
is also a very significant part of your
yeah,
study, right?
exactly.
Okay, any other thoughts that you want to share?
Ma'am, I just would like to add regarding the primary data.
Oh, yeah.
I think when you do the primary data as a for your observation or experimentation, once your work is done, you would be able to have it patented or for the trademarks. This is for the intellectual properties as well.
Yes, okay. So just be sure you will process the patenting, otherwise someone else will copy or
Yes.
someone else will snatch your
Yes, and that's the
your
reason
study.
why we need to be the one who's collecting the data.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, anything else that you would like to share? Let's proceed if there's none. Okay, now this one is just a comparison between the two. So between primary data and secondary data. So we have the definition, so that's settled. Where do data come from? So for primary, these are real-time data. So we gather them, we access the data as per the moment we are doing the study. And then the secondary data are the past researches that we may use as reference to our study. And then the process would be, we are very much involved when we are doing the primary data. So as in, from day one, we have to document what we have done and then compare our results every day or like weekly until the end of our research. And then for the secondary data, okay, we can use several other researches available. Now, the process is, as I've said, we are very involved in secondary data. This is just quick and easy. We just take what we need. We can use as much as like 5 or 10 types of references for as long as the libraries will permit us, the government establishments will permit us, so we can use as much as we want to. Then the sources, okay, so surveys, observations, experiments, questionnaire, and personal interview under the primary data. Then we have the government publications, websites, books, journals, articles, and internal records that were previously published. Okay, can we use something that has not been published? What do you think? Can we use them as our secondary data? Something that has not been published?
I think we can.
No.
No. Because we
No.
have, it should be refereed.
It
You
should-
understand what I mean? Because you will be using them, you have to annotate everything, right? And as part of your bibliography, you have to identify all the details for it to
What-
become a very valid secondary data.
What if say example, if you were gonna let a
Mhm.
company or like an agency or other
Mhm.
people to do the survey for you, is that we can consider it as secondary data?
No, secondary data is something that has been done.
So yeah, what can we say? It's still primary
Primary,
data
still
if you will
primary,
if we will let other people or other agencies,
Yes, it's
because
still
you know,
primary data.
if there are some companies that they will use third party to use the survey for them.
Yeah,
A lot
especially
of
for
that.
products, right?
Yes, a lot
They
of that.
hire people. They hire
Yeah.
people to
And so, yeah,
perform this task for them. So that
exactly.
will still
Yes.
be under primary data because in the
Is it
first
still under?
place, yeah, this is real-time data. We
Mm,
are doing the research and conducting the surveys and all these questionnaires and everything at the time that we are doing the research. Okay? And then we proceed to cost effectiveness. So, of course, primary data is very expensive. Yeah.
we will pay
Yeah.
third party companies.
Yes,
It's
that's
it's
right.
whatever.
Okay. For secondary data, well, somehow economical, because what do we need to pay? Maybe we just pay for a minimal fee, or, for example, you would like to access a library and they will charge for library fees or charge for borrowing of certain materials. So that will be not as expensive as doing the primary research, okay? Then collection time, longer time for primary and shorter for secondary data because the data are already available. Specific, they are always specific to the researcher's needs. So this is the primary data. And as what we have discussed earlier, the secondary data may or may not be specific to the researcher's needs. So like in one research, we just take a portion of the research that will help improve or that will help provide additional information to the current data that we are doing, that we are performing, okay? And available in crude form, available in refined form. What's the difference between crude form and refined form? So crude form can be like, we have drafts, we have,
not
what
so
is
organized.
this?
Yeah.
Yes, not so organized. Then we have to hire people to help us, like we need a grammarian to check our grammar, we need a statistician, and we hire a lot of people. Okay, for the refined form, because they had been refereed before a long time ago, they had been defended, so more or less, yes, they are.
It's a finished product.
Yes, so finished product now. Okay, you are right. Then accuracy and reliability, it's more accurate when we use the primary data because we do it
it's real time.
Yes, real time, and we get to experience them ourselves. Now, for the secondary data, they are relatively less accurate and reliable. Okay, why do you think they are less accurate? If we say that they can be useful in our researches as well.
Because it might be a past data. For example,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, talking about past data, how old must be a reference that you will use, or how old must be a data that you can, a research study that you can use? How old?
5 years.
Within 1 year
5
or
years
6
at
months.
least.
Yeah, ideally it should be 5 years.
5 years.
5 years, right?
Yes, ideally
Because
it should be. Yeah.
maybe it depends on what kind of research. Because example,
yeah.
for like census, if it is for 5 years, then before,
There's a big
the number of
difference.
people was just maybe 50,000. After 5 years,
Yeah,
already
that's right.
250.
Well,
Especially,
yes, I should
especially
say,
government.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay, especially for government, they have that forecast reporting, right? And it's good for 5 to 10 years, something like that.
Yes. It depends on the study that we are conducting actually. Now, if there are no available references that are 5 years or less, we can use the most recent one. So, siguro, by this time, kunyari, the most recent one could be year 2000, or that is still a valid research to use, okay? Anyway, when you conduct your own collection, what had been existing in 2000 may not be as accurate as what you can find out in the current study, okay? Like one example, I agree with you, is population. So what is the ratio of our population? 3 is to 1 minute? Is it 3 is to 1 minute? 3 babies born in 1 minute? Am I right?
Philippines very productive.
So, yeah, sa Pilipinas, yeah. 3 babies in 1 minute. So let's say in a span of 10 years, if we're going to use the 2000 researches which are available, so they are not as accurate as we will be using those which existed 5 or 3 years ago. Okay? Anything else you would like to share? I cannot see you actually. It's okay, no problem. Okay, next, so this is just a graphical presentation of all our data sources. So the primary data sources may come in the form of questionnaire or survey, and we can also access photos and collections. Then the secondary data sources are books published, journals, reports, internet, newspapers, and articles, and what else? Some government pamphlets that are used officially may also be used for this purpose. Okay? Like, for example, yung, ano ba to, yung, let's say, yung NEDA. Do you know what is NEDA? Yung Economic Development
National
Authority.
economics.
Yeah. Okay, so from time to time, they issue pamphlets that are available in their respective offices, but they have never conducted any research like yearly to upgrade what they had published in their pamphlets. Okay, so we can add pamphlets, we can add brochures under the secondary data sources. Okay. Next is a triangulation method. Okay, when we say triangulation, it comes from the root word triangle, so three-sided. Okay, so it uses more than one method to collect data on the same topic. It is a way of assuring the validity of research through the use of a variety of methods to collect data on the same topic. It involving different types of samples as well as methods of data collection. Okay, I would like you to interpret the figure on the left side. Okay, what can you say about this figure? So we have the
three kinds of method, which is the historical research,
okay,
survey, then the key informants.
Okay, so for the key informants, we perform qualitative research. From there, what do we do or what do we gather? We gather primary data, which are basically descriptions. They can be like qualifications, no? As you have mentioned earlier, if you are studying about people, they can be traits, character traits, or behaviors, right? Now, when we use historical research, it can be a what is this?
Qualitative.
Sorry.
Quantitative.
Oh yeah, it can be a combination.
It's a
Combination
of quantitative
yes.
and quantitative.
Yes, that's right. No, and these are all secondary data because basically any historical research we have let's say we have to access previous let's say histories, origins of certain things if you are discussing about origins, and then like if you are comparing any event that happened let's say 10 years ago, then what is happening at this moment. So everything has to be from secondary data, and they are our basic references for that will support our current study. Okay, then the last one to complete the triangulation method is surveys. So this can be both quantitative and qualitative. You can use descriptions, you can use numerical value, but the difference is these are real-time data, primary data in short. Okay, do you think this is one best method to use? Is triangulation one of the best methods, or should we say the best method to use?
Yes, I would say
Yeah.
Because this is more
Reliable.
yes, more reliable because you were able to consider all sides of the coin, as we say.
exactly.
Okay, there are three approaches to research. So the three most common approaches to conducting research are quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods. So when you say mixed methods, we are using the triangulation method. Now, it is important to say that there is no right and wrong answer to which methods you choose. As long as you can prove the validity of the study, you can establish your facts, do not distort previous facts that you were able to gather from existing researches, and you are able to reach to new conclusions. Okay? Anything else that you would like to add in these three things that we need to establish when we conduct our research? So to prove your facts, establish your facts, prove the validity of the study, reach for new conclusions. Nothing else? Hi. Hello. Okay, so I will proceed. So this is qualitative research alone. Okay. When we say qualitative data, again, describe qualities or characteristics. They are collected using questionnaires, interviews, or observation, and frequently appears in narrative form. So examples would be conducting a focus group to come up with quality. For example, you would like to find out what is the quality of the food at a certain coffee shop, or you can come up with responses from an open-ended questionnaire. Okay, so as we have established earlier, qualities or characteristics are adjectives that will describe feelings or emotions or the responses. Okay. Then it says something about open-ended questionnaire. Okay. Sorry. Well, when we say open-ended questionnaires, we are leaving the responses, or we are leaving to our respondents whatever they want to say about a certain question that we ask. Okay, so that's what we mean by open-ended questionnaires. But if you would, sorry?
It's an opinion that we are taking.
Yes, very opinionated. But if you would like to limit the responses, we can use close-ended questions. Okay, how do we do the close-ended questionnaire? So the difference between open-ended, they can say anything, while close-ended, you can also
multiple choice.
Yes, there are multiple choices. Right, that's right. You can use yes or no. They may answer between yes or no. Choose from A, B, C. Choose from numbers 1, 2, 3, and you are also listing down possible responses that could be present when they answer, or when they answer the open-ended questionnaires. Okay, so which between the two is easier for you?
Maybe it's easy to gather if it's a close-ended,
Yeah.
because easy to quantify who said yes, who said no.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like that.
But at certain instances, when you would like people, when you would like them to give their free-form answers, what is an additional part of your close-ended question that you may add?
Maybe you can put some
What is that
options
word?
for them to say something what they want to say.
What do you usually put? You always say others, right?
Yeah, others or
please
additional
specify.
information.
Yes, or comments, right?
Comments, like.
Okay, so this would be this would enable them to freely share their opinions.
Maybe we can consider it as caper informants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
This one,
that's right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next one. Still on qualitative data. So we have discussed they are involving words or language. We can use pictures, photographs, and observations. They give an in-depth picture and is particularly useful for exploring how and why things have happened. Okay, for example, the last definition says it can be used to study human behavior, complex feelings, and emotions. Example, why employee morale is low, or customers are complaining, or shareholders are dissatisfied. In this sense, this particular definition alone, we can come up with a study that will show agreement. Remember our Likert scale? a study that will show agreement, study that will show satisfaction, approval, or quality of services rendered. Okay? Next. Of course, the qualitative research is not ideal at all. Although we say when we gather responses, we are catering to pure emotions or feelings or behavior of people towards someone or something or a certain product. But there may be also pitfalls. So yung disadvantages, okay. The first one, if respondents do not see a value for them in the research, they may provide inaccurate or false information. Yeah, perfect.
Because they don't care at all.
Yes, that's right. I don't care. Okay, why would you, on what sense would you be able to encourage them to participate in your study if they have the I don't care attitude?
Some people, they just say that, okay, if you, after you do this, then you will have this gift kind of samples of this product.
Giveaways.
Giveaways.
Like in the Philippines, no? Di ba? Mayroong raffle at the end after listening, or you get free snacks.
Because if they don't get anything, they don't bother to like even read
course.
whatever you are giving to
You
them
are
as this
right.
questionnaire.
Okay. If they will not benefit anything from it, I don't think they will be participating. And what is worse is they may also say what they think the researcher wishes to hear. So if you are the one conducting the study, alam ko naman kung anong gusto mong malaman. So ganyan, ano na lang. Let's pretend that this is what I am thinking of. Let us pretend that this is my thought or my idea about this certain study that you are conducting. Just to please the researchers.
Please the researcher and saying another way of saying thank you for the gifts.
Oh yes. So most of the time they will be giving out excellent ratings kasi ano, may free meals.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2 is an ethical issue. Okay. Ethics is an issue for any type of research. There may be particular difficulties with qualitative research because the researcher may be party to confidential information. So always bear in mind that you must do no harm to your research subjects. Okay, how come or why do we need to exercise ethical considerations when we are conducting research or while we are gathering any responses?
Because there may be some topics that are like sensitive and you should have to be careful also.
Yes, that's right. So any confidential information, like in the first place, before we conduct any research, we have to ask permission. Like, for example, our respondents would be minors. So from whom do we get permission?
Parents.
DSWD?
Yeah, DSWD or their parents or their guardians, right? So since they are minors, we can only bring out or we can only share what they have or how they responded, but we have to keep their identities a secret, right? That's why we are using, for example, yung mga rape victims, di ba? Gumagamit tayo ng mga code names, gumagamit tayo ng mga aliases, no? Now, in this case, pwede rin tayong gumamit ng aliases. Or like we are dealing with chronic illnesses, we can use hospital records, but we don't divulge the identity of the patient. Sometimes we just say patient number 1, patient number 2, just like what happened
like
in our
COVID now.
Yeah, that's right. May
patient 300 something.
That's right. Anong pang ilang patient na ba ngayon? Pang ilang million na ba?
One.
Okay. So this is to protect the identity or to protect the confidentiality of all information, especially if they come from um, very sensitive sources like yung mga minors or yung mga chronic diseases, o kaya let's say issues of national concern, pero
Yeah.
di ba, kunyari may mga whistleblowers tayo, we also use aliases for these whistleblowers just to protect their, just to protect them, okay?
Security purposes.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Patay pa yan.
Even in certain offices, meron tayong we value confidentiality. For example, ako, I work in the HR office. No? So, even if my employers would not say you don't need to divulge anything that you see, anything that you hear, diba? It's like a military rule. Anything you see, anything you hear, leave it here. Okay.
Leave it here.
Yes, otherwise, no one will trust you to do that particular work anymore. Okay, so yan ang ethical consideration. You're done with the ethics, right?
Yes. Business
Yes.
ethics.
O, yung business ethics.
Last
Meron pa kayong
module.
isa pang ethics. Meron pa isa. Okay, next slide. Sabihin nyo lang kapag pagod na kayo.
Correct.
Okay. So just to sum up, the sources of qualitative data are interviews, which can be structured, semi-structured, or as we call unstructured. Okay. Any kind of interview that you will be doing, we need to seek for approval or permission. We cannot do any impromptu conversation. For example, our respondents would be minors. Our respondents like are, for example, you are working on, let's say, cases of unwed mothers, right? Yung may mga sensitive cases. So everything have to be with prior approval or permission. Okay. Then we use focus groups. Okay, this involve multiple participants discussing an issue. Now, do you find any or like, would you recommend conducting focus groups? Let's say you as the researcher, you gather like 5 respondents at the same time, then you discuss responses.
It can be. It will make your work, you're finishing.
Yeah, you do it at one time, right?
Do it one time.
Yes.
Finish it at once.
That's right. And on the other hand, on the side of your respondents, there may be some who are not very open to share, right? There may be some who are so madaldal, they share everything. But when you come up with these focus groups, especially if they are from the same, let's say, age range, no? Tropa-tropa na lang yan. So it's easier for them to share anything to their peer groups, right? Or yung mga same age groups. Okay? Then postcards or small-scale written questionnaires. So this is very common. Okay? So we give them questionnaires. We give them time to respond to the questionnaires. Then we allow, there are 3 or 4 focus questions of participants. Then we allow them to write in their own words. Okay? So this is more on sharing, or this is an open-ended type. Then the secondary data, we have the diaries to add to what we have discussed earlier. So we can use diaries, written accounts of past events, and company reports. To access secondary data, of course, because these belong to a certain person or a certain government agency, or these belong to a museum or a library, so we need to seek permission, okay, beforehand. You don't go there and then conduct the research or conduct the study at the same time that you would like to, but there should be a prior permission, Okay? So, kaya gumagawa tayo ng letter before we conduct our research. Meron tayong letter of permission that we have to give them. So, normally, ano yun, dinidistribute muna natin sila. Like, we will tell them, okay, at this certain day, we will be conducting our study, or we will be browsing over some of the references from the library, and then we have to wait until they give their permission. Hindi pwedeng nabigay na natin ng letter, o sige, that's good as a permission. No? Hindi po ganon. Okay? So we need them to acknowledge our invitation. Yes, it's an approval. Even when you do researches in schools, but there are certain government agencies that go to different schools. Before conducting the interview, they have to seek approval from the management. Yes. Okay. Next would be observations, which may be on-site or under laboratory conditions. For example, this is where participants are asked to role-play a situation to show what they might do. So this is like reenactment, no? Reenactment of a previous incident. If you cannot access any solid information or any solid data about a certain issue, so let's try reenacting. For example, yung mga cases, ng mga police cases, di ba? Yung mga classified information from police cases. Especially kung walang witnesses, no? So they will just try to come up with reenactment. So that will be part of observations. And they will arrive at their decision from what they have seen in the reenactment. Okay?
CCTV is the best.
Yeah, CCTV. What if the CCTV is not working? You have a CCTV, but it's not working.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, have you installed CCTVs in your houses? Okay.
Akalain pa, meron kang tinatago dyan. Mas anon ka pa.
Right. Correct. Okay. So, to conduct interviews, we use the following. We use open-ended questions, or the close-ended questions, as we say, is better than the open-ended questions, no? Or a combination of the two. When we come up with, you write others, please specify, or write additional comments if you wish to. Okay, so that is a combination. Then, during the interview, you have to record responses immediately. So the responses would either be, you give the questionnaire to your respondent, or you ask questions and you do the writing. Okay? Then, select participants who can contribute to the study. So this would be using proper distribution. The statistician will tell you the population of the respondents to you. So let's say you have a target population. No? For example, in one community, you will not use all of the members of the community as your respondents. So there is only a certain number of, as we call, the term we use there is target population. What is our target population? So normally 30% of the total population. So
30%.
who will, normally 30%, but it depends on your statistician on how he will be able, nagko-compute din siya diyan. He computes how many will be your target population. Okay? Then the last one is know why you are conducting the interview. So it is very important to establish your purpose and your goals for the interview. Okay? Now, for the focus groups, okay, we said earlier that people would be more comfortable talking to or sharing to people of their same age or same profession. What else? Like all girls, if it will be consisting of all girls or all boys, no? So the participants can contribute equally. So they feel comfortable to interact openly as well. But who should be handling or monitoring or manipulating the focus group? It should be the
The moderator.
moderator, yes. So the moderator should be the best person to understand if there are miscommunications going on, if there are rifts that are about to happen, no? Because we cannot avoid certain things like that. It's not always when you put together people of same ages, people of same profession, that they will always agree on certain topics, right? Okay. So the purpose of the focus group is to gather people's opinions, ideas, and beliefs on a certain topic or a certain product. So the moderator, as we say, is the best person to lead the discussion within the group that is designed to gather helpful information. Okay? Okay pa kayo? Okay. Now, what if we are conducting a case study? Okay. Basically, when we say case study, do we deal with many people at the same time?
Depends.
But normally, it's limited to, limited to one person. One, like let's say, maybe the most number of people that will be assigned to one person would be 3 or 5 if they have same cases. Okay, so the purpose of this is we gather variety of sources and by using different methods. So we observe what they are doing, we observe their behaviors, ano pa. We also conduct yung mga on-the-spot interviews, right? Sometimes we don't need to tell them that we are doing an interview because this is the time that they will start to be aloof, they will not share. If the atmosphere is very friendly, they will be very openly sharing their thoughts and their feelings. Okay? For example, yung mga cases ng, di ba, mga cases na lagi nating naiisip gawan ng research. Yung mga nasa mental hospitals, nasa jails, ano pa, yung mga unwed mothers, mga street children, when they started to notice that you are conducting an interview, pag na-notice pa lang nila, wait, someone is joining. The moment they notice that you are conducting an interview, they will shy away from responding to your questions. Okay? Okay. Now, this case study, as we say, may be limited to one subject. So tingnan nyo to, yung target. No? Who is our target? Who is our subject? So this should be a single person or a small group coming from a certain community that we have adopted. No? So sometimes as part of our study, we immerse, no? Doon tayo, ang tawag dito? Doon tayo nakatira or we stay with them for longer periods of time. O kaya naman, let's say, if this person goes to school, we go to school with him or with them, right? And then the research is qualitative because we are observing behavior. So that is our research method. No? Then because we are observing their behaviors, we conduct interviews that are on the spot or any interviews that will be very significant to the research that we are currently conducting. Then the criteria would be, it should be sticking to one person. If possible, the ratio should be 1:1. That should be the ratio, ideally, no? Then the data is gathered from different resources. Then we proceed to what aspect of knowledge do we deal with case studies? So this should be in-depth investigation. So we don't only come up with conclusions from the way we see or the way we feel towards a certain person. So we have to dig deeper. So sabi ko nga kanina, we have to immerse with them. If we can stay longer periods of time, we live with them. This is the most concrete way we can gather information. Hindi yung sabi lang nito or listening from what another person has said. Yeah, yung mga hearsays or yung grapevines, hindi siya pwede sa case studies. Okay? And then the conclusion is dependent on how the subject is affected. So yung behavior. Okay? Behavior, feelings, anything that speaks of yung feeling niya or agreement or satisfaction towards a certain thing. Okay? Okay. Next is Christina. Okay. Christina is here. Okay. Okay. So now we deal with quantitative data or quantitative research. So the basic difference between the two, which we were able to establish earlier, is quality is descriptions or emotions, behavior, characteristics, while quantity refers to any numerical value, numbers. Okay. So quantitative data, they are used when a researcher is trying to quantify a problem or address the what or how many aspects of a research question. It can either be counted or compared on a numeric scale. So what kind of numeric scale can best be used to measure the quantity of a certain topic that we are researching about? We can use rubrics.
Graphs.
Are you familiar with rubrics?
Yes.
Okay, so rubrics, they describe the levels of quality for each criteria. And then you can design your own rubrics. Whatever you feel like, what aspect or what element would you like to measure? So you can design your own rubric. So if the Likert scale ideally would have 5 raters, the rubric should be also 5 at least. Okay? Then quantitative methods are very helpful if you want to understand the detailed reasons for a particular behavior. Okay, you assign numbers to fairly abstract constructs. So that means we come up with certain qualities, but we want them to be measured in terms of number. So yung mga behaviors, yung mga expected responses natin in an open-ended research or in an open-ended interview, we can write them down and put numbers as equivalents or letters as equivalents. So they may be personal opinions, no? In order to make the responses precise. Okay, then we use SPSS to analyze all the quantitative data. Okay? So who will do this for you? Unless otherwise you know how to do it by yourself. If not, leave it to the statistician. Okay? Now, okay. What are the advantages? So let me go back. What are the advantages of the quantitative data? They are easy to compute.
Easy. Very easy to,
Easy to create.
easy to gather also.
Yeah, that's right. It's easy to gather. it's easier for you to create your graphs, your tables, or your charts. What else? What else?
It's easy to compare.
Well, less
And
time, right?
gets your lesser time.
Yes,
All you need to do if you have the past datas
Mm-mm.
and then the recent one, easy to compare, and you can have your conclusion immediately.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Work is over.
And yes, the work is over. You are right. Okay. Now, what are the sources of quantitative data? So we discussed this earlier. We can use surveys that may be conducted
Surveys,
also online.
questionnaires.
Yes, questionnaires, observations, or any company accounts. Okay? Okay. Next is, okay, so analyzing quantitative data, the same. So we can use graphs, we can use cluster analysis, we can use hypothesis testing. So you are already familiar with graphs, right? They are used to show the data through tests of correlation. So yung mga, let's say, line graph, bar graph. So yung progression of the lines, progression of the bars will easily tell us what like meron ba siyang meron siyang increase or decrease, or like let's say are you what is this term? Is there a boom in your business? Because we can see from the rise the rising trend of your statistics.
Or the fluctuating trend.
Yes, o kaya yung fluctuating trends. Okay? Then when we say cluster analysis, so sorry, it is used for identifying relationships between groups of subjects where there is no obvious hypothesis. Okay, so yung you put together all the responses that you were able to gather. Then hypothesis testing is used to identify whether there are genuine differences between groups. Okay? So basically, when you say hypothesis, you come up with guesses. Right? Diba? When we were in like elementary and high school, we say, I therefore conclude. So where do we get those conclusions from? From the result of our experiments, right? Okay. Are there questions so far?
None.
You have questions? Okay. Now let's deal with statistical methods. So I have this slide. Keep calm and be significant. Okay. So any number, any statistics, anything, any figure, any table that you share is of great significance. So it is of great value. Now, we leave the work to the statisticians, right? Aside from doing or aside from interpreting all our research, all the researches that we were able to gather, what can you think of other roles of the statisticians? What are other roles of the statisticians? In the former researches that you have conducted. So first, the statistician should provide the best design in order for our experiments or for all the researches and observation to meet the objectives. Okay? And then the statistician also helps reduce the likelihood of repeating experiments. So, for example, the topic is common to all. Let's say in one group, I have given you same topic. But because you have different statisticians, there will be different means to attack, different means to undergo your research. So the success of your research lies on the excellence of your statisticians. Okay? it is all the statistician also needs to determine appropriate procedures to analyze the research data. So there will be certain times when you have to meet with your statisticians. Earlier, I said that leave this work to the statistician, but it is also best when you have consultations with your statistician, so you will understand how he computed, and you will be able to understand how uh, the objectives that you have set up were met through the figures or the numerical values that your statistician will give you. Okay, and in the day of your defense, let's say, the statistician is not required to be present. So, sinong kakampi nyo pag nag-defense kayo and you were not able to, you will not be able to justify your research. Okay, so you should know also how he did it. Okay. He may also be using certain softwares or certain programs to interpret the results of your study. Okay? Those are very basic of his roles. Now, talking about statistical methods, so we have statistics. Definition of statistics is the science of collecting and analyzing numerical data in large quantities, especially for the purpose of inferring proportions in a whole from those in a representative sample. So when you take everything as a whole, how are you going to limit your researches to a certain sample? So that's why we have a target population. No, you will not let the entire member of the community be your target population. So may certain percentage lang, and then that will be computed by your statistician. Now, for example, in a community, how do you derive the target population? Okay, wait for a moment. Are you familiar with the word epidemiology? Have you
Yes,
heard
ma'am.
the term? Yeah. What is epidemiology? This is your target population. Yan yung yan yung magiging respondents, no? So when you hear the term epidemiology, that is your target population. Those your respondents, I mean. So this is the group where you want to know more information about, okay? And then as I've said earlier, normally this is 30% of a certain, a bigger population, which is computed by the statistician. And then the sample population, you will derive all necessary information from them, which is part of your demographic profile. So nakita nyo, di ba? The first part of any questionnaire would ask for name. Name is optional. Ano pa? Age. What could be part of your demographic profile? Name, age, profession, salary. If a part of your research will be touching the salary, what else?
Gender.
Gender, yes. Okay. Paano pag may hindi nag-disclose ng gender? Sa null ba yun? You will include that in the null information. What else? Gender, profession, subset, salary, yung location. Let's say a certain you would like to find out the behavior of a certain group of people from this particular location. So you have to indicate also the place. Okay. Are you okay so far?
Yes po.
Okay. Oh, would you like to take a 5-minute break? Okay lang kayo?
Okay po.
Okay. Sige, 5-minute break na. Kasi after this, get a piece of paper, ha? I would ask you to compute konting computation. Okay?
Okay.
Sige, 5 minutes.
Yes.
Okay po.
Thank you.
Hello ma'am, nag-log out ako sa isa kasi naka-mobile, hindi ko makita masyado.
Okay lang. Check ko lang yung attendance. So now you are 12.
Miss Clarinda, while waiting for
Yes.
others, can I have a question?
Yeah, sure.
Are you going to discuss about a forecasting technique, which is the best thing to apply it, either the quantitative or the qualitative methods? Are we gonna
Yes.
discuss that later on?
Partly, yes. Yes.
Part of your list. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Christina. Oh, complete pala kayo. Christina is here. Okay, shall we resume? Okay, I want you to get a piece of paper, then I will ask you to work on something later.
Miss Clarinda,
Yes.
can you give the definition again of the word epidemiology, the one you have mentioned earlier?
Epidemiology, this is the target population.
Okay, yeah, because I have written here in my notes the target population where you will gather your data.
Yes, yes.
Is this something related to a health, because it's mentioned epidemic?
Like epidermis.
Epidemic.
Yeah.
Epidemic, yeah.
Out of curiosity, we just want to clarify things
Yes.
because we don't want to get any confusion.
Yes, it's true. Epidemic, this has something to do with people, like just
epidemiology. This
yes,
is related to a
epidemiology.
population.
Yes.
In a
Your target
particular
population.
place.
Okay. Thank you po.
Which is like arena. Okay, shall we proceed?
Okay po.
Okay. So now we're going to deal with central tendency. What is central tendency? So it's a descriptive summary of a data set through a single value that reflects the center of the data distribution, along with the variability or dispersion of a data set. Although it does not provide information regarding the individual values in the data set, it delivers a comprehensive summary of the whole data set. So when we say comprehensive summary, now we will deal mostly on our the numerical equivalent of our research. So this is used to determine the typical numerical point in a set of data in which the data points are distributed on a range from lowest to highest value. Okay. So what are the three most common measures of central tendency? I know for a fact that you are familiar with mean, median, and mode, right? I know, you know this. Okay, what does each one mean and how does one differ from the other? When we say mean, this plainly means the average. So it represents the sum of all the values in a data set divided by the total number of the values. So what is our calculation for this? You add all the numbers that you have divided by how many items. So let's say there are 10 items. So that is your, do we call that divisor? No. So add all the numbers. So for example, you ask them to choose their responses from 1 to 5. So all the responses, for example, in item 1, the response is 4, item 2, 5, item 3, 1, then add all of them divided by 10. So 10 refers to the 10 what is this? The 10 items or the 10 elements that you ask them to respond to or to answer. Then median is the middle value in a data set that is arranged in ascending order. When we say ascending, we arrange that from the smallest to the largest value. Then if the data set contains an even number of values, the median of the data set is the mean of the two middle values. So we also call this as the middle figure or the middle number. I will show you how to do it later. And also basically when we say median, if you have 9 items or 9 elements, what is the middle of 9? 5. Not 5. So any number, no, sorry, not 5 as a number, but 5 as
the fifth one.
Yeah, the fifth value, the fifth. Yes. Okay, so that is the median. And then the mode, it defines the most frequently occurring value in a data set. In some cases, a data set may contain multiple modes, while some data sets may not have any mode at all. So, it's easier to say that the mode refers to any number that is repeated, any number that occurs at a certain series, and then you just have to identify which number has been repeated from time to time. That will be your mode. But if the number has not been repeated, what will be your mode? It's 0. Yeah, the mode is 0. Okay. Now I want you to get your paper.
Excuse me.
Okay. So here is a description and an example for each. So the mean, median, and mode. The mean says it's the average of the numbers. The median is the middle number of a sequence. And then the mode is the number that occurs most often. When we talk about the mean, we say, number 1, add the numbers together. Then divide by how many numbers were added. So for example, we have 7 elements, sorry. So for each response, we get the following value. So item number 1 is 3, number 2, 5, number 3, 5, number 4, 6, number 5 is 8, number 6 is 10, number 7 is 12. So add all of them. We have 49 divided by 7. Where did we get the 7? From the number of items. Okay, so our mean is 7. Okay, next is median. So the median is the middle number when the numbers are arranged in order by size. For an even number, the median is the average of the two numbers in the middle. Okay, we'll discuss that later. Go back to mean. Using the same number of items, 7, what is the median? What is the middle value? 6. Okay, I have it there. The middle value is 6. So that is the median, right? Okay, go to mode. Go to mode. Mode is you find the number that occurs most often. The answer is 5. The answer is 5. Okay. Now what I want you to do is this. Using the same numbers, let's say we have 3, 5, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12. Add 13 plus 13.
13.
Okay, let's do that as an exercise.
So
Plus
49,
13. Okay.
49 plus 13 is
And
62.
Follow the
divided by
instructions.
8. So 775.
675.
And then 775. 75.
75.
And then the median should be 6 and 8.
So 14 divided by 2,
14
7.
divided by 2, 7.
7.
And still the mode is 5.
5.
Okay.
So 775, 7.
7, 5.
For the mean, it's 7.75.
So it's 62, right? The value is 62.
62 divided by 8. So the mean is 775.
7.75. Then what is the median?
7.
Median is 6 and
6
8.
plus 6 and 8.
So we have 6 and 8,
14
right? 2
divided by
even
2.
numbers. Yes. 14
Okay.
divided by 2. So the median is 7.
7.
And then what is our mode?
Still 5.
Still 5.
Okay, the same 5. Okay. Now, as I've said earlier, if the numbers are different, the mode will be 0. Okay. Next slide. You will use the same paper. Ito lang ang pinakamadaling gawin natin. Huwag na natin iasa sa statistician.
Correct.
I'm not good in math, but kailangan ito lang, at least this one, we have to understand as well. Okay, in statistics, the range of a set of data is the difference between the largest and the smallest values. Difference here is specific. The range of a set of data is the result of subtracting the smallest value from the largest value. So we say the range is the difference between the highest and lowest number. Look at this example. So we have the items 3, 5, 8, 8, 9, 10, 12, 12, 13, 15. According to definition, to get the range, we identify the biggest number, which is 15 minus the lowest number. So it would be 15 minus 3. That is our, what is our range? The answer is 12. Okay. Now, try, how did we get the mean of 9.5?
Use some of
yes, the sum of all
we have
this.
1, 2, 9, 19,
1, 2, 3,
3,
4, 5, 6,
4,
7, 8, 9, 10.
Divided
Divided by
by
10.
10. So the
10.
mean is,
3, 4, 5.
okay, the mean is 9.5. 9.5, right? Now, go back. Okay, let us identify the median. So this is our number 1 item, huh? Let us identify the median and the mode using the computation we had earlier. Okay?
median.
So identify the
1, 2,
median.
3, 4,
19
5, 9,
divided
10.
by 2.
19
divided by 2.
Okay.
9.5 as well.
So the same as the mean. And what is the mode?
Mode is what?
8 and 12.
8
Oh,
and
8
12.
and
would
12.
be,
Yeah. 8 and 12.
no, 9 and 10. What is the
Mode?
what
The
is at the
mode?
middle? Sorry.
No.
Mode.
Okay, mode is
9,
8
8 and 9. 8 and 12.
8 and
8 and
12.
12.
8 and
Okay.
12.
8 and 12. Okay, so 8 and 12. And then,
The number that occurs.
okay.
Yep.
Did we get all same answers?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
now go to the next one. We have the numbers 1, 5, 8, 8, 9, 10, 12, 12, 13, and 17. So how many items are there? 2, 4, 6,
10.
10.
10.
So add all of them, divided by 10. The mean is 9.5. Okay. Now the range is, the biggest number is
16.
17.
17 minus 1.
Minus 1. That's why we had
The
16.
range is 16.
Yes. Now get the median and the mode.
The median, it's still the same,
Okay,
9.5.
9.5.
And the mode will be 8 and 12.
8 and
12.
12. Okay, the same. Okay. Okay, that's very easy.
Yeah.
Ma'am, question.
Opo, yes po.
Ma'am, even if even if the arrangement is in a different order,
Scattered,
we still
yeah.
need to get the highest and the lowest for the range,
Yes,
right?
yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay, next is standard deviation. Ito na, this is the great work of the statistician. We will just discuss this for the sake of identifying the difference between low and high standard, but basically the work will be for the statistician. Okay, standard deviation is the number used to tell how measurements for a group are spread out from the average, or which we term as mean, or the expected value. Then a low standard deviation means that most of the numbers are close to the average. So the numbers are almost like one or two digits apart. But when the numbers are scattered, or there are big numbers, we call that as high standard deviation. Okay, the numbers are more spread out. Okay, so ito hindi ko na to alam. I don't know how to do it. Calculating standard deviation. Okay, so Just to identify what are these figures. So SX, that means standard deviation. How to calculate for the standard deviation? Where n is equal to 1, so you can see there n minus 1. Then x sub I, so this means each of the values of the data, minus x, so this is the mean of x sub I. Okay. Nosebleed. Okay, so when you will have a progression like this, so the normal distribution curve. Okay. So earlier, you asked about forecasting. This is the process of making predictions of the future based on past and present data, and most commonly by analysis of trends. So when you look at these lines, no, in the bars, they represent the trends. Is it upward or downward trend? Then a commonplace example might be estimation of some variable of interest at some specified future date, where we say forecasting is the same as prediction, but prediction is a more general term. Okay, so what's the difference between the two? Prediction is we foresee things that will happen in the future, while forecasting is we based on the trends, right? So based on these trends, what generalization or what conclusion can you come up with? Let's say yung blue. Let's say this is any aspect in business. What does the blue say?
Increasing.
Yeah, it's increasing.
It's still fluctuating, but at the end it's increasing.
Okay.
And
How
so
about
your
the
business
red
is
one? Yes. Oh, yung
Red,
business side. Sino bang- Okay.
bankruptcy.
This is dying.
Because there is a great slide towards the end, right? So if you were a business person,
It might be because of COVID.
oh yeah, okay, might be because of any other factors, no? Not COVID alone, okay?
Mhm.
So between these two colors, we can say the blue one is more stable, right? It
Yes.
may be fluctuating, it may be increasing, but at the end, it shows us an upward trend. Okay, so nag-progress pa rin yung business, right?
The blue
Now,
one is selling mask.
yes, okay, kunyari mask yan. Against, what is the red one? So the blue is mask and alcohol and sanitizers, and what else? And then the red one is
Makeup.
makeup, okay, makeup, perfume, shoes, clothes. So alam na alam ang mga mga girly things. Okay. Then the bar graphs there, or the bars, I mean, are same as the blue and the red lines. Okay. The bar graph has been represented by bars, and then the line graphs with lines. So napaka-simple ng description. Okay. Next, so these are the three underlying components of forecasting. One is the underlying trend. This is the general direction, so it can be up, flat, or down, or over the longer term, showing the rate of change. Okay. Number two, cyclical factors. These are the short-term influences that regularly superimpose on the trend. Nawala si meeting si Karen. Okay. An example is the peak season sale for the cyclical factors. Cyclical comes from the term cycle. What is the peak season? Kanina, di ba? We mentioned, sige, yung mass, selling of mass, selling of businesses that deal with the production of mass, sanitizers, alcohols are the peak ones at this time because of the COVID, because of the pandemic, right? Then when we say number three, random movements, so these are irregular random spikes up or down caused by unusual and unexplained factors. So if we will take into consideration the current crisis, no, there may be an upward trend or a downward trend, but okay. But at certain times, the downward trend would not always be down. The business would not always be down. And we say also that this type of business may be booming at present, and at certain times, mawawala na rin siya sa business industry. Right? Okay. Now, can you give examples of industries where you can clearly express all these types of forecasting? So aside from pandemic, ano pang meron? In your respective industries.
During,
In your respective industries.
During a business review,
Mm-hmm.
or evaluation of the business performance, you can apply all these three in terms of forecasting the business for certain industry.
And would you be able to know, like, if you are, for example, a shoe manufacturer, would you be able to know which type
based on the historical performance of the company,
Yeah.
you will be able to identify and use all these components in terms of forecasting.
And this based on the trends, also in fashion,
Yes,
right?
trends.
Okay.
Yes, trends, linearity, seasonality.
Season, yes, that's
such
right.
things. Yes.
Okay,
And
another
also
business.
based on your market. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, another possible forecast.
Your question, ma'am, is it about any
Yeah,
business?
any business. Yes, any business.
Okay. Based on our observation during this current situation, so certain industry, for example, is the healthcare industry are really in the peak business performance. Their sales are in a growth and profitable. However, those in the hospitality are really such the business sales are plummeting and really such in a very challenging situation where there's a lot of loss of jobs. And some other industry as well, like a food chain in the Philippines, like the Jollibee stocks from 200 plus now it really dropped to 135, 45, 145.
Okay.
Those are such examples.
Okay.
So it's time to buy.
How about Elizabeth? She's raising her hand.
Yeah, for the industry that I'm dealing with, for the telecoms, we are suppliers of the telecoms enclosures. For the underlying trend, the direction of flat or down depends on the LME rate. LME rate is the London Metal Exchange. If the rate is fluctuating or it's in the uptrend, it will affect also our pricing. So if the LME is high and the LME is low or the LME is constant, so the graphical trend would be like underlying. On the cyclical factors, it depends on the season because when the Baraka nuclear plant in Abu Dhabi started to construct for the telecom side, that was last year. That is the factors wherein our turnover is at the peak because it's the introduction of the construction. And then on the random movements, we were affected when the pandemic comes in the Q1 because of the shipment of these telecom goods. So we're having this downturn because we cannot ship the vessel on time because of the pandemic.
Okay. Any other member who wants to share?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I think, ma'am, it is being used as well when there is.
May I know who you are? Sorry, I cannot view your
Christina
face.
Almasawi.
Christina. Yeah. Christina.
Sorry, ma'am, there is no raising hand in my.
No problem. Okay. I cannot see your faces actually, and even your names.
Okay. It's being used as well in business review. So it can be used for the next year forecast. It can be used what are the changes need to be made for the next year. So yeah, this is a good sample of how to identify and produce uh, for the planning for the upcoming year. So yeah, this is a good one.
Any one of you from the educational sector?
Sorry?
Anyone who's from the educational sector? Baka ako yun. Okay. I work in a school. Yeah, we have from the last memo that we received from our registration officer, we had downsized to 28% of our enrollment. So basically, like most schools would offer face-to-face interactions, but as I've mentioned earlier, only according to the Ministry of Education here in Qatar, only 30%, because the number of population, the number of enrollment was also considered. So from this number that we had, we were only allowed to have 30% of the population who will be present in one particular school day. So if it's 30%, so how to deal with classes would be, each day would be like a beginning of a new day, no? So siguro, so 1 week, the teacher won't be able to finish all the lessons, no? O kaya lessons would just be reading, or would just be focused on listening, or like they're just doing experiments in science, but basically wala silang masyadong matatouch ng mga lessons. And so we also what's this? We also edited the yearly plans that we were using. Also, the syllabus, the syllabi that we were using before, in anticipation of the number of students that will be present in a particular class. And then for in terms of the enrollment itself, of course, the school will be, you know, will be forced to terminate some workers, because we have we had a decrease of 28% from our enrollment. Okay, so aside from that, we say the face-to-face interaction is 3 times each week. And then there is an online, there are online classes. But since we deal also with younger kids, no, younger children, the online classes would not be live online as what we're doing now. So this will be recorded just to keep up with the number of hours limit per class. So what we will give our students would be the recorded classes, recorded, what's this? Recorded versions of the classes. Okay? So it's not that easy. Even Filipino Institute here, sino nga sa inyo ang trainer dito? Journey?
Yes po.
Journey, di ba? We receive a memo from Sir Gab, like in a school or in a class that usually is composed of 10, we have to limit to 5 or 6 students in one class.
Face to
Then, yeah, yung face-to-face. Have you begun with your face-to-face?
Yes po.
Yeah, kami sa September 11 pa.
Kaso maliliit din po kasi yung
Oh,
mga rooms
yes.
na nakuha nila. So, but then they're trying to really maintain yung social distancing pa
Yes.
rin po.
And we need to be in mask, we need to be in face shield, no?
Face shield, yes, may face shield.
Yes, okay. So any other sector you would like to share?
Yeah.
Emirates Airline po, ma'am.
Okay. Sino po yan? Si Marge. Okay, Marge.
Mama ko po,
Can I
Shinad.
add?
Sino ba
Okay.
po?
Sige, Sheena muna.
Sheena.
Sorry.
Okay. Sheena before March. Okay.
Sorry.
Sige.
Sheena
It's
po.
okay.
Okay.
Kasi I do have friends sa Emirates. So, redundant sila, tanggal sila ng mga tao because during the pandemic nga is that walang nagda-travel.
Yeah.
Yun po.
Ang nagta-travel lang ngayon, puro repatriation, di ba?
Yes po.
Limited lang po yung flights.
I think even in the Philippines, may mga nagsara ng mga small, kunyari, Cebu Pacific, no? May mga recession na rin nangyayari sa kanila. And I heard here in Qatar Airways, at least 1,800 workers lost their jobs. Nakakasakit ng damdamin. But anyway, no, let's be thankful na tayo alive and kicking. Okay. Let's proceed, Marge.
Yeah, additional sector that applying these three factors are actually the cybersecurity, because I'm working for a cybersecurity company, where during the underlying, we actually noticed this during the underlying trend where before the pandemic, the yearly or the annual sales could be up, flat, or down during the quarter review. However, during this pandemic, we've noticed a really good demand from especially for the healthcare industry, or from all the industry except for the hospitality because of their challenges. But as I said, the cyclical factors, we could say a peak season for us. It's a good business because not everyone are ready for the work from home environment. Most of the companies are now starting to get very conscious with their employees, so they are now start investing, making sure that their employees are secured, their endpoint, their laptops, or their computers that they're using for work, for all the industry, because everyone has been in the work from home industry. So I would say that that's one of the sector as well, that even there is a global economic condition or challenges for everyone, this industry is the one which is quite really doing well at this current situation.
Well, I think it's the gadgets that will be in boom as of the moment, right?
And during this situation, also during this current unprecedented event right now, there is an increase of the hackers or the landscape of, in terms of threat landscape, is really getting high. So this is the time all the cybersecurity companies are really performing very well. That's all from my end. Thank you.
Thank you. Journey, you're raising your hand.
Yes, actually, I'll just like to add up. I'm working from the healthcare sector. So, yeah, because of the pandemic, almost all are really saying that healthcare is one. It is really. I mean, there is an up for demand for healthcare, but actually, hindi siya 100% true. Because, like, for example, on the hospital setup, we are catering so much services such as outpatient, inpatient, and surgeries. During the pandemic, lahat ng elective surgeries, all outpatient services are put on hold. Actually, even the healthcare setup are experiencing downgrading of employees also, to be honest. Because for a hospital to maintain 100% yung functionality niya, there should be a steady inflow of money. Kaya lang, because of the suspension of elective surgeries and outpatients, na wala yung malaking sector na yun for the income. So yung management na kinibigay for COVID cases is just actually, it's not even a management, it's just like a supportive care. That's why even healthcare experienced removing employees also. But one good thing is like aside from all the industry, naging consistent pa rin yung requirement for healthcare. So that is one. But I would not really say that talagang the demand for healthcare is talagang nag-boom ng sobra. Because it's not for the siguro for the healthcare professional, yes, because they demand healthcare professional, but for the hospitals, it's not 100% demand.
You know, if I may add, consultations here are through telephones.
Telephones, yes. Yun
Yes,
po,
so
yun po yung something that is new. It's a
yeah.
trend that started because of the pandemic, the telehealth consultation. It opens, although it's already there, matagal na po, kaya lang hindi siya ganun masyadong option, but because of the pandemic, it picks up.
So yung very minimal fee that we pay for consultation, so malaking bagay din yung para sa kanila, right?
Yes po, kahit pa paano po nakakatulong,
Yes,
but
yes, that's right.
not as big as a surgery.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Anything else or anyone else who would like to share?
Yeah, for us in the
yeah.
hospitality industry, we were really so affected with the pandemic. Before, we were just like the normal trend or the underlying trend before is like from you have normal normal sales during like March to May, then September to October, because our peak season is normally from starts from November up to February, because you know, it's winter time, so that's really our peak. And then our downtime is like, you could say down season is during summertime, June to August. But now even supposed to be like at this time we will be like normal, like you know, but or like we can say last April and May, we really could say supposed to be, if there's no pandemic, we really have like normal sales, but at that time it was like zero sales because of that pandemic. We are really very much affected because as we say, we belong to the hospitality industry, so we really cannot you know, people are really trying to go over further you know, this primary needs rather than going to restaurants like that. So just go for deliveries or whatever.
Yeah,
So
and if the
survival.
trend is basically deliveries, who would need
Deliveries.
waitresses, who would need dishwashers, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
that greatly affects
So,
everyone.
but since we were in the high-end restaurants, we manage we own the franchise for that, so it's like they don't go there anymore. People stay at home, so our restaurants were closed. So during that time, so that was like, say, zero sales during that time. Hopefully now.
Zero sales, so no work, no pay too.
Yeah, some employees no work, no pay as well. So that's the thing for our outlets.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
but in other that's in other part of the world like Europe, since people there are different also, so they just like they open in May and June, so that is really also good for us. That's why. So we could say as well, it depends on the locality or in the country, because and the mentality of the some countries, they are like conservative. They really have to lock down and close everything. But some countries, they lock down for a few days and that's it. They open and
What is the situation
they
now
beat
there in Dubai?
the pandemic.
In
We don't want to
UAE.
stay home anymore.
What is
Sorry.
the current situation in UAE?
It's growing up
No,
again.
yeah. The only difference is people are
Yeah.
wearing masks.
Yeah. But the business as usual.
Business as usual, yeah.
Business as usual. I was
Oh,
out
okay.
yesterday and I saw a lot of people. I was happy, but hopefully, really, like people will be more careful, and hopefully,
Yeah.
like because it's growing up now. Yesterday it was 700 something again.
Cases are
Wow,
going up.
700?
Yeah.
53.
Here we have like a 200 or less than 200. But the irony of life is parents pulled out their children from schools, but where are they now? The malls are open.
Yeah.
Even starting on September 1st, young kids are allowed to enter the malls. So very ironical.
Yeah, ironic.
Okay. Anything else you would like to share, or anyone else who wants to
Because
share?
even in the spread as well in the school, like only one will be like contaminated, it will contaminate all.
Yeah,
So
that's
if they go out and some of them might contaminate, it will only contaminate their family.
right.
So it's not a large number.
And you know who are the most pasawais? I'll keep my lips sealed. Okay. So when we proceed,
Hi, Miss Clarine.
yeah, sorry, sir. Who's that, please?
Miriam po.
Miriam. Yeah, Miriam.
Hi. If I may add lang po, I used to work for an e-commerce industry. I
Mhm.
usually handle the forecasting for supply chain, mainly for the outbound or the shipments of the parcels. So
Mhm.
basically, when we do the forecasting, we use these three for these components of
Mhm.
forecasting. So for the underlying trend po, basically, since I am more focused on the expense side po, basically my what do you call this? My forecasting po will be based on the sales of the company. So basically, if the sales is going up, my expenses are always also going up because of the number of shipments. And it's not actually very straightforward po. It's not like if there's a contract, like you have to just multiply it with a certain contract rate. It's not like that po, because we have to consider previous data. Like for example, for the weight of the shipments, of course, we check previous data, like how many percentage do we expect heavy shipments. So of course, heavy shipments will be more expensive. And then what else? uh, as to the place where we are delivering the items, like the more remote the area of location, the more expensive it will be. And
For the
uh,
shipping.
yes,
Mhm.
and of course, if we have to consider as well the COD payments, like of course, these couriers will charge us more if the customer wants to avail the COD what do you call this, COD option.
Option.
Yes. So basically, for the cyclical factors po, we usually have uh one big sale every quarter, but the biggest one is actually on the fourth quarter. So basically, we check previous experiences po, like for certain days we are receiving four times the uh, four times the normal daily orders we receive, like during November, when we have uh, this White Friday sale. We call it a White Friday sale. And
Mm.
then, so for the random movements, of course, actually what happens here is that sometimes we actually don't know when will our competitors have their own sales. So basically, if they have their own sale, our the sale of our company usually go down, and we have to also consider this. But that is before, all this is before the pandemic. So
Mhm.
after the pandemic, um, it's really weird, because during this pandemic, like all of the company is having a hard time just to survive. But for e-commerce industry, it's quite different. It's actually the sales almost doubled. It's actually increased because nobody wants to go outside. That's
Okay. So
why.
everyone wants to have their
So
goods delivered.
yeah, correct. So it's actually good to enter to
Yeah,
e-commerce
that's right.
business right now.
Anong products mo, Miriam?
Oo nga, anong merch mo?
Yeah, and then what do you call this? Yeah, that would be all. Yeah, for our industry,
So
for
in
e-commerce.
your case, you are waiting for your competitors when they will come up with their sales. But in the Philippines, it's always the payday sale. It's always yung Christmas sale, right? There is it's not random moments anymore. There is a fixed season, no?
Because po in during those time when I was making the forecast, because I already left the company, so during those times, we only have few competitors. Basically, there are new startup companies, so we don't actually know when they are going to have sales. But right now, we have noticed that every time our company, yeah, my previous company is doing the sale, they are trying to
Kasi
compete with
nag-resign ka
that
na kaya
sale.
previous na.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else who wants to share?
Ma'am, ako may naalala.
Yes. Oh, sino to po? Miriam?
Christina.
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 Okay.
Kasi ma'am sa transport industry,
Okay.
so here in Dubai Metro, so really affected as well because now they have this 2 meters distancing.
Yeah.
Where before, even siksikan talaga, wala nang gap. So this time, strictly sila sa 2 meters distancing. So the trips are the same, but the passengers are very less.
So try to
And
imagine our LRTs back home.
yeah.
Diba? Okay.
The same with the Pam Jumeirah, because for the Pam Jumeirah monorail, most are tourists who are using that one. So for now, it was closed, and until now it is closed because they are not allowed to enter tourists. So for long period of time since the pandemic, that Pam Jumeirah is closed. So those people who are working there, they split to different railway here in the UAE. So it's really affected. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so let's just hope and pray that everything will turn to normal. We'll go back to our normal lives soon. Okay, soon. Hopefully, it's very soon. Okay, then we proceed to the next. I know you have break times after the second hour, but I want to finish the discussion. Then we take a break. Then there is a quiz after. Okay, we take a break after the discussion. Then when we resume is a quiz and discussion of the groupings that we will have for next week and your finals too for next week. Okay, so let's proceed. So this one is a causal relation. So causal, it exists between two events if the occurrence of the first causes the other. So in short, this is just like cause and effect relationship. Okay. So the first event is called the cause and the second event is called the effect. This type of relationship is investigated by experimental research in order to determine if changes in one variable actually result in changes in another variable. Okay, look at this figure. So let's say what causes fire? This is what we would like to find out. So in a fire triangle, we have cause mapping or the graphical method of causal analysis to identify the causes of fire. So the first one there, because I cannot see it, it's heat or ignition. So that's the first cause of fire, and then fuel, and then oxygen. So what the causal relationship analysis says, if you remove one factor, the flow will not be, let's say there will be no fire to happen if there is one missing factor. Okay? Then we proceed to triangulation. It means using more than one research discipline or methodology in order to eliminate as much bias as possible. So in an ideal world, every market research design will be comprised of multiple methodologies layered upon each other to explore, test, refine, and validate findings to ensure the original business objective is met. So why do you think the triangulation method is the most effective method to use? Because as we said earlier, it breaks whatever tie we could possibly have from or between the qualitative and the quantitative results. Okay, so this will serve as a marker whether most people will be dealing, whether the most glaring effect or the success of our research will be based on the numbers that we provide or based on the behavioral or the traits that we were able to come up with. Okay. Okay, next is the triangulation method. This is the combination of qualitative and quantitative research methods. In fact, the disciplines already overlap. The quantitative research produces numbers. So the number of people questioned, for example, then how many times a particular feeling or opinion was mentioned in an interview. So quantity based on number or numerical value. Then qualitative methodology can be used to shed light on qualitative issues, such as how strongly people feel about a certain issue. So feelings would be based on emotions, okay? Then the triangulation method strengthens qualitative and quantitative analysis by combining insights from both. So, do we agree that the most effective method is the triangulation?
Yes.
So far,
Yes.
So far.
Yes.
Okay. So here, the triangulation research, by connecting quantitative data to behavior using qualitative methods, using triangulation can add an extra dimension to the analysis with people's descriptions, feelings, and actions. So we say that in quantitative, we can just take or collect our data by means of letting them answer with a yes or no, with ABC, or with 1, 2, 3, instead of asking them to freely give their or supply their answers. Okay? Then qualitative is an open-ended responses. Now, the results are compared and integrated and interpreted when we use the triangulation method. So as a combination, we can use both words, traits, qualities against statistics, numerical equivalent, figures, charts, and what else? Graphs. Okay. Then next one is carrying out surveys. Survey is defined as a research method used for collecting data from a predefined group of respondents to gain information and insights on various topics of interest. They have a variety of purposes and can be carried out in many ways, depending on the methodology chosen and the objectives to be achieved. So we were able to establish earlier that before you conduct a survey, you have to ask permission, and then the survey can be done face-to-face. It can be done through online. It can be done through telephone. How else? Actually, it's in the next slide. So these are the different methods by which we can conduct our surveys. So online surveys, so they are web-based surveys. Then phone surveys, through telephone interviews, or even when you are applying for work, no? Most companies perform telephone interviews rather than go there physically to the respective companies. Then we have qualitative surveys based on focus groups and in-depth interviews. And then the written surveys by mail, by email, by SMS, and how else? How else are the written surveys done? Like when you go to, after purchasing something, di ba? Even here, kunyari, sa mga Applebee's, sa mga KFC, no? After you purchase something, they will ask you to answer surveys from ano tawag dito? Meron silang how do you call that? I forgot.
Feedback form.
Oh, yung parang like a feedback form, no? That they will provide you yung kanilang mga, let's say, yung kanilang mobile, yung kanilang iPad, and then there you are going to answer several questions. Yeah, may mga apps, right? That's
They actually use it as well to gather informations from people, their number, email address. Then once they have it, they have it. Sometimes they sell it to other, because this is a business also. Yeah, they do that because some people, these are leads. So once they have, after that, of course, when you fill it up, then you will gonna put your mobile number, your email address. I had tried that, and then someone called me for, you remember you had answered these questionnaires for this and that, and you come here because we have some, they have some hotels, something like that they offer to you, and then at the end you need to pay 16,000 dirhams.
And basically,
I received the same call.
Basically, once you have responded to this feedback, you will regularly get them from your emails, your SMS nyo, hindi ba?
Yeah, and some people, they will just gonna, they will collect all of this. Then once they have like a long list already, they can sell it to anyone, the names and because it's a product already now.
Yes, that's right.
People's information.
Okay, we're almost done. Okay. Sample size, we have discussed this earlier. This is the target population. Sample size is the number of completed responses your survey receives. It is called a sample because it only represents part of the group of people or your target population, or the term that we discussed earlier, it is the epidemiology. Okay, so an appropriate sample size is required for validity. If the sample size is too small, it will not yield valid results. An appropriate sample size can produce accuracy of results. So might as well, let's think, is 30% a reliable sample size? For example, diba, may nakikita kayong ganito. Let's say, yung mga government surveys, sasabihin, yung satisfactory ratings of for example, President Duterte, tapos 1,000 lang pala ang epidemiology niya. But from the result of this study, na-carry na siya sa how many millions of or billions of Filipinos, and only 1,000 represent the voices or the feelings or the sentiments of billions of Filipinos. So that's one example of a sample size. But I don't think 1,000 over billions of Filipinos would be enough and a valid sample size to generate the approval rating of like President Duterte, right?
Yeah. Also, ma'am, how can we guarantee that the result will be
accurate?
An accurate result. What if those 1,000 are in favor of such a person?
And of course, syempre, for approval rating, syempre, they will prioritize, well, ayoko mga quote and unquote. Baka yung pro Duterte o pro ganito, anti ganito, so lumalabas yung mga approval ratings na yan, o kaya yung mga, let's say, yung mga ano ba to? So yung mga satisfactory services na binibigay ng government. Okay? You want to add something?
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next. Yes, please.
Sorry.
Miriam?
Miriam po, sorry, bigla
Okay,
lang kasi
Miriam.
pumasok to sa isip ko.
Sige lang, okay lang. It's better to share.
Yeah, actually, it's about, narinig ko kasi yung approval rating. And for, naalala ko kasi yung ABS-CBN and GMA, when they, lagi nila sinasabi na sila ang number one, and they are, ayun, nagre-reference sila sa mga statistics na company, like, sa, I think, ABS-CBN is, teka, ang GMA yata is AC Nielsen, tapos yung isa is, ano nga ba yun? Basta, magkaiba sila ng, magkaiba sila sa, and I don't know bakit nagkakaroon sila ng difference sa, nagkakaroon sila ng difference sa mga ratings nila.
Well, I've heard before na kunyari, magpa-conduct ng survey ang taga-GMA, dun lang sa mga GMA, yung may mga satellites ng GMA. So, syempre, walang users ng ABS. I'm not pro GMA. I'm not pro ABS. I don't care. Tama ba ako?
So, parang hindi kaya parang may mali sa the way na kinukuha nila yung sample size nila.
Kasi sila yung nag-hire nun ng ng agency na yun, di syempre sila talaga yung mananalo. Para next year na naman sila ang kukunin ulit kasi kung sabihin mo ba GMA nag-hire na ito, sabihin niya, oy mas leading ang ABS. Hindi niya siya i-hire next year.
Okay. Anything else or anyone else who would like to share? Nothing? Okay. Oh, this again is the work of the statistician. So this is how the sample size is calculated. So as what we've said earlier, normally 30% is good enough, but if we have millions and billions, it would be at least 50%. But kunyari, yung satisfactory rating ng Pangulo natin, we cannot have 50% as the sample size or the target population kasi masyadong marami. And it will be very costly as well. Diba? Okay. And the survey says, thank you. Okay, stop sharing. Thank you so much. That's it. Done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So if you're going to take a break, how much do you normally take a break? How much time?
Depends po on how difficult the quiz will be.
Hindi naman. It's just a 20-item quiz. Okay, now it's 12:40. Gusto niyo pa mag-break?
12:40.
1:40 na po.
Sorry, dito
1:40 na
12:40.
sa'yo.
Sorry. 12:40 dito sa amin. Ahead kayo ng 1 hour. Sorry. Okay. Sige, break muna and then we'll have a quiz. Only 20 items. I'll be sending later. Are we complete? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Perfect. Okay. So how long? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
20 minutes, can we come back at 2 p.m. Dubai time?
2 p.m. Talaga? Tama na. Huwag naman 2. Yeah. 2 p.m. Okay. It's 1 o'clock. Bigla ko na confused ako. Okay. But I will not turn off the recording.
Yeah.
Okay. Sige po. See you at
See you.
2 p.m. Dubai time, 1 p.m. Qatar time. Okay po. Sige po.
Yeah.
Ay, cloud ko. Sa cloud ko nila to. Sa cloud ko nila to eh. Hindi ko alam eh. Saan yung cloud eh? Hindi ko na alam eh. Hindi ko na alam. Hello. Can we resume now?
Yes po.
Can you turn on your videos, please? So I would see your faces. Bakit ako yata ang naka-off?
Opo.
Diba?
Yan. Beautiful faces.
Okay. Baka ma-confuse kayo ha. I'm not Gabriel Jan Remando. I'm just using Sir Gab's account. Si Leonel ang nasa Pinas, ano?
Yes po.
Nga ba? Kamusta ang Pinas?
Madami pa rin po ano ngayon dito cases kaya lockdown pa rin po ano, sa Pampanga.
Sa Pampanga ka pala. Let's wait for Rona, Jovi, Elid, Christina, Karen. Si Karen, hindi gumagalaw.
Hindi na. Tulog, matulog kasi dito eh.
Puyat.
Puyat.
Let's have the groupings first for your, you'll be doing soft research. Okay. Let's have the groupings first before we proceed with the quiz. Okay, groupings muna tayo. You are 13. So we are going to come up with 3 groups. Okay, let me share with you the schedule first. I did a schedule. So this is our schedule. Okay. So today we are done with the discussion, lecture discussion and brainstorming, then quiz number 1. I will say, how would you like me to send the quiz to you? Through the WhatsApp, through WhatsApp? Then you send back your responses through my email. This
or
is
WhatsApp
my email.
also.
Yeah. Okay.
Or WhatsApp.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, okay, but it would be PM, huh? Not in our group.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Or I will send you my this email. So
Yeah, in the
starting
WhatsApp
with the
group.
quiz now, yeah, I will send it. Then in the next activities that we will be doing, everything shall be sent to my email. Okay?
Okay po.
Okay.
Okay po.
So let us do the groupings first. You are 13, so we're going to have 3 groups. The first group will be consisting of 5 members. Then the next 2 groups, 4. Okay, let's do that. Just 1 moment.
By age.
By age ba? Huwag naman. Di wala akong ka-group.
Ako ka-group mo.
Ay, gano'n. Talaga ba? Magka-age ba tayo? Teka. Teka. Bakit wala? Mahirap kasi hindi masyadong techy.
By sex, nag-iisa si Lionel.
Siya na lang. Yan ba name people? Maybe using the name people. Pero hindi siya isi-share, no? Okay. And then, let me input your names. Narinig, di ba masyadong malakas? Asan siya? Okay. Cecilia. March. June. Lauren. Karen. Marie. Sheila. Juan. Elizabeth. Joby. Melanie. Edith. PH. And Christine. Nasi-share ko ba sa inyo? Para makita niyong walang dayaan. Teka. Walang dayaan talaga. Okay, let me see if I can share with you. Okay, ito. Yung random natin. Can you see it?
Nice.
Ha?
Yes, ma'am. Yung pang giveaway.
Yeah, may prize.
Oo. Teka. So, we will identify your groupings. Okay, ready. So, group 1, we need to have how many members? 5, no?
5.
Group 1, 5 members. And then 2 and 3, 4 members each.
First.
30. Oh, okay, Cornelius. Okay. Tama ba? Pipindutin ko lang yung gitna. Okay, for the
First group.
first group. Wow, Ayoni, group 1.
Group 1.
Ayoni. Yan. Good name.
Good name.
Next.
Ay, nanalo na.
May panalo na.
First
Pwede na, no?
prize.
Siya yung unang nanalo. Jovi. Yan.
Joby.
So, si Jovi, group 1 din. Okay, 3 more. Naglaro ang mga bata, ano? Okay. Karen. Also group 1. Karen, dalawa ka. Christina. Group. Okay. Ibang pa. Isa na lang. Miriam.
Kala ko ako na eh.
Oh, may cheerer kayo. Okay. Group 2, 4 members. Group 2, we have Sheena. Next. Cecilia. Elena. So, one more. Lara. So, hindi ko na-spin yung last group. The last group is composed of Marge, group 3, Journey, then Elizabeth, and Reed. Okay? This is only for your groupings to know who you will be working with. Pero during the presentation, we have to identify who will present first, second, and third. Okay? Okay. Wow, nice to see your faces. Let's see Elizabeth. Christina. Elid. Okay. The quiz is very simple. It's just 20-item quiz, which identifies between qualitative and quantitative. Okay, is Elizabeth with us and Christina?
You said? You're so tired.
You're so tired? Anyway, matatapos na tayo, don't worry. Okay? So I'll send to our WhatsApp group the quiz. And then download it. Then I will remove it again. Huh? I will delete it. Okay.
Because they want the one technician to go on Thursday because they'll be busy on Thursday. No, because the 12 p.m. supposed to be at a meeting, so she also did not go. She'll be coming back on Monday. And I will be on sick leave. I will have my surgery.
Okay, share screen. Okay, stop share screen.
Huh? No, my doctor said because he gave me medications, it didn't work. So he said I needed, and then I checked with the exam like this, the nerve exam. He said I need to do it.
Is it minimize? Can you see my Can you see my screen?
No.
No, ma'am.
No po. Just a minute. Okay. Return to meeting.
Which
Okay.
Muna?
I will send this to the WhatsApp group And then just let me know if everyone has already downloaded it, and then I will erase, huh? And then please save my, okay, I'll send first my email.
Na-share niyo na po. Wala akong
Not yet, not yet.
Share niyo na. Okay.
I will send you my email. So send here. Anyway, you will be accessing my emails in every paper that you will be submitting. Okay. Oh, thank you for posting the groups. Okay, this is my email. Where is the other? Okay. Adjourn. She's not in yet. Is she not in? Miriam? Ah, okay. It's taking time to show. So that would be worksheet number 1. Okay, kindly confirm if you received it already, then I will delete it again. Elite, are you on duty?
Yes, ma'am.
Ang effort talaga mag-MBA. Okay, please confirm if you have received the quiz, or it's worksheet number 1. So how will you answer it? Just identify if or whether it is qualitative or quantitative. This is 20 items, and then send back. But will it take you 30 minutes to do this? Not 30 minutes, I guess.
Ito lang po ba, ma'am? May kasunod pa po ba ito?
May kasunod next week.
Next week na.
May klase pa ako mamaya.
Okay, yan lang po. Yan lang muna. For the meantime.
Okay, na-download na po.
Okay, downloaded na.
Download na din.
Okay. So, patanggalin ko, ha? Everyone, please confirm if you got yours.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay na po, ma'am.
Okay na. And then let's agree at what time will you be sending that back?
Yeah, 30
Or
minutes.
actually, madali lang yan. So while we're on, you can answer that. Sige.
Hold on po. Sunod lang po.
Okay.
Miss Clarinda on.
Hello?
Nakamute ako. Yes po.
Oh, sorry. Yung
Yes.
sa letter B, ano rin yan? Qualitative
Same.
or
Same.
okay. Okay. Thank you.
Do you have access to your emails? You can email me instead of sending through WhatsApp. So you can already, I will already have a file for each one of you, and then we will use same file whenever you submit me any outputs. Okay? Ano lang, put the subject MBA online. Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Question po. Hello po.
Nakamute pala kayo. Yes, Sonel.
Ay, yung pong sa letter
Sorry,
B,
nalobat po.
yung sa letter P, lalagay po ba kung qualitative or quantitative po ba?
Same,
Or
yeah.
mamimili?
No, the same.
Kala
the
ko kasi
same.
mamimili dun sa mga
No.
naka-close and open parenthesis.
So all your answers would be either quantitative or qualitative. Yeah.
Okay po. Thank you.
Email na lang po namin sa
Yes po, email.
Pwede, pinidf ko po, okay lang ba?
Okay, no problem.
Ma'am, saan po isasubmit yung exam?
Doon na lang sa email ko. I sent it already sa chat box. Email
Okay.
your please to my Gmail account, subject, MBA online.
Okay po, noted. Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Ganda po.
I'm sending acknowledgement email whenever I receive your fees. Okay. Still waiting for Karen, Elid, and Christina.
Ma'am, nasend ko na po.
Sa
Kanina
email
pa. Opo.
Sa WhatsApp na receive ko, pero sa email. At yung email ID mo?
Karen Ann. Yes po.
Okay, check mo sa drafts mo kung send. Wala eh.
Baka mali yung ano.
Present ko na
Ako
lang.
nagkamali rin ako sa
Check mo.
email address.
Okay, so while waiting, I will send to you next week's soft research instructions. We'll be sending the schedule that I made, the one I showed you, and then next week's soft research instructions.
Ma'am, send Christina.
Send mo. Okay, so Karen Ann, ayan, finally, and Christina. Then, Elid, have you sent yours?
Ma'am,
Si
nasend ko
Elid
na
na
po
lang.
ulit.
Ma'am, I will be sending it now.
Okay, baka lang hindi,
Sorry.
hindi na send sa draft.
Give me 5 minutes. This one.
Okay, waiting for one more. Then we're off to go. Let me know if you were able to send it, Elite, out there. Okay. And then
Yes, ma'am, I sent
kindly,
it already.
I saw it. Now kindly open the attachments I sent, starting with the schedule. Okay. So our schedule is this. Where is it? Okay, here. Okay, so for next week, we will discuss, although I sent to you the soft research instructions, so we will discuss that next week. And then after the discussion, we will have our final exams. Now, because you are working by groups, so I would expect that you find ways by which you can communicate with your group mates. Okay? And then after next week, if you're done with your drafts, you can send to me for revisions. Then we can meet by Zoom also any day after, like I think after 4 o'clock here, no? Or after 5 o'clock in 5 o'clock Dubai time. Okay, if you would request for Zoom by groups, let us arrange our schedule, but it should be after 5 o'clock from Dubai time. Then you can send me by, no, not SMS, but it's through WhatsApp, but not please in the WhatsApp group. Okay? So you can create your own group by groups. I mean, you can create your own WhatsApp group by groups that we have already assigned earlier, but please do not share your responses or your drafts to the major group, to the main group we have. Tama ba yung spelling na Elid? Sorry, parang mali. Sorry, Elid, hindi ko minamurder ang pangalan mo. Naguling lang ako. Okay. Okay. So between September 12 and January 29, no, I should be receiving your draft. So let's arrange what will be the schedule for your submission of the drafts. Okay, because after next week, I won't be meeting you at all, no? So we will be communicating through WhatsApp or emails or through Zoom if you would request to have Zoom with me, okay? Then the research presentation will be on January 29, 2021. Okay, so this will be also an online presentation, but maybe, tingnan natin, if we can have it in Dubai, then we'll fly to Dubai. Okay, ambisyoso. Okay, so I will stop sharing this one, then open the other file. The other file is, what is it? That should be worksheet number 2. Did I send you worksheet number 2? Yes, I did, right? Qualitative research. Okay. Ba't hindi siya bumubukas dito sa akin? Hindi siya bumubukas. Dali. Basta be patient lang. Okay. Hindi siya bumubukas. Oh, boy. It's okay. Okay, here it is. So I have listed down, focus first on the topics for the new normal education. So this is what you will work on. I have listed down 17, but since you are only 3 groups, how are we going to decide which one you are going to choose? So would I leave the decision to you, or we will choose as a class? Or you will give me your response next week?
Pwede
What
din
do you
mamaya
think?
ulat.
Huh? We will
Yun,
choose. Sorry?
Hello, ma'am. I think we
Yes,
will
ma'am.
decide as a group and then
Oh,
we
yes.
will get
Okay.
back to you.
So,
paunahan na lang po ba, ma'am, sa
oh,
pagpili?
okay, no problem. Okay, so I would leave this all 17 topics that you can choose from, and then how would I get your decision next week? Anyway, we will be
Pero
discussing
kahit
this
siguro
next week.
kung magkapareho, iba-iba naman
Opo,
yung
in
approach,
case po,
diba?
in case po na may magkapares po ng topic.
Magkakaiba naman ang the way you will deal with it.
Pero
mas
isang
maganda
topic lang
iba-iba.
naman, diba?
Mas maganda iba-iba kasi during the research presentation, diba, you will be learning lots from different groups. Okay? So
Maybe
sige, study this list and then we will just discuss next week. Okay?
And we'll
Yes,
choose only
Elizabeth?
one, right?
Yeah, you have to choose only one. Yes, Elizabeth?
Yeah, Miss Clarine, just a suggestion lang po. Maybe you can choose for the group kasi the problem is there might be a duplication on the topics.
Okay,
Kahit
let's
po
do it this way.
Yung will po po kanina.
Ganito. Oh, yung will. Okay. So
Same.
next week. What we will do next week, we just choose 3 and then mag-will ulit tayo next week.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
So I will
Topic po.
leave this as is para mabasa nyo. Malay nyo naman, hindi nga magandang pagkakapresent niya pero mas marami naman kayong output, di ba? Okay? Any other questions? So focus on this first, so 1 to 17. And then we will discuss, we will choose by group next week. This is
So the
our
next week
discussion.
din siya,
Yes, we have to finalize our decision by next week. So discussion of your soft research, we are going to do an action research this month, but based on qualitative research. Okay?
So
And
we will
then
do actual research or is it
just a soft research. I will discuss with you next week how you will do it. Soft research. Okay,
we will present in next week also.
No,
the same
no,
day.
not next
Or-
week. In January.
January pa?
Yeah,
Okay.
after the conference. Gusto niyo na ba next week na? No, what I want for you to do by next week, we will decide which topic you will be working on by group.
Okay, great.
Okay, then we will discuss this as well. After the discussion comes our final exams. Okay? Okay, any other questions, ladies?
So by
Yes,
next
Elizabeth. And gentlemen? Elizabeth, yes?
Yeah, Miss Clarine, regarding the research, this activity, so it means it's almost in with the business plan na we will do it, then the draft will be sent to you for review,
Yeah.
then but it will be based on qualitative, which is the
Yes, yes.
qualitative.
Yes, qualitative. Because if you have noticed, I indicated there, I want you to work on phenomenological approach. So when you say phenomenological approach, these are the things that we are experiencing right now. Okay? Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Any
And
other
then,
questions? Yes, po.
addition, regarding next week on the finals, this is also regarding the Q&Q, the quantitative and qualitative
Yes,
topics.
yes. What we have discussed now.
Okay, thanks po.
You're welcome. Or any other questions?
May iba ba tayong i-discuss by next na topic by next week or ito lang?
Just a continuation. I still have something to discuss with you, pero very short discussion na lang. And then ito ng soft research, and then afterwards is finals. Yun. Okay. Okay, para.
Pero may mga
sorry. Leonie?
May isi-send ka pa bang ibang handouts for us to
Okay, shall we call it a day?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks
okay,
for
parang ayaw pa.
Thank you po.
Okay, you're welcome.
Salamat
din. And I'm so glad to meet everyone.
Likewise po, likewise.
Yes, okay. Sige, message na lang in case you need anything else or in case you want to ask something. Okay? Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you po.
See you next week. Bye-bye. Statistic.